This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's mention that Chyna has one more title defense against Lita at Judgment Day in 2001. Although she won the match, she soon vacates the women's championship. That winds up being her final WWF match. Let's talk about why. It's time to get into it, I suppose. I think our crack research team has decided that this relationship with her and Triple H actually started in late 96.
Mm-hmm.
So with that in mind, in hindsight, Hunter got his girlfriend a job in wrestling.
Yeah.
That's sort of the story.
Pretty much.
They initially hide the relationship from their coworkers because they don't want people to think that she slept her way to the top. But eventually, as you know, they wound up living together, and well, eventually the Hunter Stephanie relationship on screen happens, and it turns out it's more than just storyline. She wrote, and with the exception of the storyline involving my boyfriend and the admittedly more conventionally attractive Stephanie McMahon, I think you understand where I'm coming from. I get as much of a kick out of the McMahon family shenanigans as anyone else. But my boyfriend, Paul, known as Hunter, and I have been, well, experimenting with the notion of giving each other a little space. And you probably know his character, Triple H, is married to the character of Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon's daughter, who is in real life, of course, Vince McMahon's actual daughter. Well, in the latest storyline, Hunter and Stephanie are feuding because she's insanely jealous. And Hunter is jealous too, because he thinks Kurt Angle has been slipping Stephanie some of the old Olympic gold on the sly. Anyway, according to the writers, I'm supposed to feel sorry for Hunter, give him a big hug, and tell him I know how it feels. Duh. There's some debate, I guess. This is just me and you talking now. When this relationship with Stephanie really started. After her death, her sister Kathy Hamilton would say Bleacher Report that while Paul was very good to Joni, the couple disagreed about the future family plans. Paul wanted children, Chyna did not. And the addictions and mental health problems also contributed to their breakup. We've touched on it before. She leaves the company November 30th, 2001. She'd been off TV for several months. There's lots of different reports coming from this and how it happened behind the scenes. Chyna says they started seeing each other before they were officially broken up. Of course, talking about Triple H and Stephanie. In a 2002 interview with the Baltimore Sun, she said that her breakup had nothing to do with her leaving the company, and she left to pursue an acting career. And I think you were quoted somewhere here saying that you guys had mutually agreed to let her contract expire so she could explore other stuff. She did a 2015 interview with Vince Russo, and she said after a meeting with Vince McMahon about the Stephanie McMahon situation, she was sent home, and later she received a fax telling her she wasn't needed anymore. Lots to unpack. What really happened with her leaving the company? We'll table the breakup for a moment. Her leaving the company, you say mutually agreed. She says Vince sent her home and sent her a fax. What really happened?
Well, we decided not to renew her contract. We wanted her to save face, Conrad. We wanted her to leave without having to die on her sword. And so consequently, I decided that it'd be a mutually agreed departing of the way. It left her with some credibility. It didn't make her seem so much as a victim, which I'm not so sure she didn't want to be. She may want to be a victim and garner the sympathy that a babyface would if he was against a big heel and insurmountable odds in overcoming them. She had a meeting with Vince, and then he stopped meeting with her. She still came to TV thinking she might get booked or might be used. And I don't know why we kept bringing her to television. I nipped that in the bud because it was a waste of money, waste of her time, wear and tear. And we made her a real good offer. I thought.
Well, I got some details on that. Let's talk about it. After she passes away, her sister Kathy said that Chyna was offered a new contract for $400,000 a year. Of course, that was her downside guarantee. She would have made more with merch and pay-per-view, et cetera, et cetera. But supposedly she just flat refused to sign a deal for less than $1 million. And you've told me that story before here on the show, but does that line up with it being the end of her run? This wasn't a year or two prior. This is right here, post breakup. I'm worth $1 million. You offer her 400. We agree to disagree. She goes her own way.
Yeah. And people got to understand this thing. The 400K was probably more than she was making when she was earning $1 million. Can you understand that logic?
Yes.
And so she gets an increase in her downside. So if she gets hurt, she's not booked, whatever, she's going to make about $8,000 a week, somewhere thereabouts. $8,000 a week. And if she gets back rolling and gets creative rolling again, and she invests herself as she did before in her character, then the chance for her making more money and being higher up in the card is obviously there. Her deal to me was, I'm as valuable as Stone Cold is to WWE. Chyna is as valuable to WWE as Stone Cold Steve Austin is. And so, therefore, she knew there was a handful of guys making $1 million downside, and he was one of them. That was the magic number. At that time, that was the number that you strive to attain if you're a talent, because that was the top of the pay grade. It's $19,000 and change a week. And a lot of guys just took it as they earned it, and they made, Jericho and I were talking about the other day. He had some $2 or $3 million years on about a $350,000 downside. So it's there to make. That's the incentive of it. That's why it worked so well.
Right.
You're incentivized. But her deal was, no, I don't want a $400,000 guarantee. I want $1 million guarantee, because she wanted exactly what Austin, Undertaker, some of those cats were making. And she wasn't ever going to be cast in their light. She was going to be used in their way. It would not have been a good investment for us to make. Now, if Vince had said to me, hey, look, she's had her heart broken, she's had some bad luck here, blah, 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 give it to her. Well, I would have given it to her.
Right.
If that's what he wants. It's his money, but that's not what he wanted. Give her a raise, make it, and put it in the same level of a lot of these other guys making 7 figures, earning 7 figures, not being guaranteed it. And let's call it a day. But quite frankly, I'm not crazy about keeping her, which is what I wanted to hear.
Right.
It was an ongoing saga. And I said, Joni, why do you want to be here? Every time you come to work, you see Hunter or Stephanie or together. It's going to eat you alive. It can't just be the money. You're going to be miserable.
Right.
And I believe that, Conrad. I really believe that. It was any money off me or out of my pocket? No. I'm just trying to be honest with her.
Right.
And so that's kind of where that was. And then I don't recall now legal may have sent her a fax to follow through on something. I never fired anybody by fax. That's somebody else.
What about FedEx? That was Eric's move.
Nope. Phone call. Or in person.
Right.
But nonetheless, that's how that ended up going down. So, but the 400K was not a bad offer, considering she was making less and earning 7 figures plus, with all the merch, the pay-per-view payoffs, the live events, all the stuff that she was doing. But again, after all these talks with her every week, in person and on the phone, I knew that she had her eye on acting. She wanted to be that Schwarzenegger. She even used him as an example. I could be the female Arnold Schwarzenegger. Then I said, that's what you should go for. Because you're only going to be young one time, Joni. And they ain't going to be no casting no 50-year-old female Schwarzeneggers. You're young, you got the youth, you still got your look, you freshen your whole package up, and you still look wonderful. So there's where I'd get started, because it's not an automatic deal. It's not a layup. So I was trying to give her enough positive reinforcement to ease out of the wrestling business, at least with us, and go do something else. And because I didn't want to, personally, selfishly, didn't want to deal with the heartache of managing a talent who's going to walk around gloom and doom. And to be honest with you, you start wondering about the stability of someone mentally. How are they going to react going forward? If cumulatively, are these issues going to become unmanageable? And then you have to start the whole thing I've always done when I was managing talent. You manage with the worst case scenario in mind.
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst thing that can happen? Well, she could go off. She could assault somebody. She could get so depressed because she got depressed a lot, and she could commit. She could end her life. There's a lot of things that could happen. You got to think about them. You don't hope for it to happen, but you got to think about the reality of the situation. So I was glad that she moved on, and not only because it made my life easier. I thought if she got to become that female Schwarzenegger, she could show everybody that the ugly duckling became a major Hollywood star.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com.